Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming today. This is to make sure you're in the right place. This is the State Agency Reporting Center System Application Training for State Agency Recycling Coordinators who have to report to CalRecycle. So again, thank you for taking the time to come out this morning and see the system in use. I'd like to go over a few things. First of all, my name is Paulina Lawrence. I'm part of the State Agency CalRecycle team. And I have worked maybe with a couple of you guys. You may have received some emails from me. But I'd like to go over, before I introduce our speaker, Robin Williams, I'd like to go over a couple items for those of you who are in the room with us today. First of all, if you need to use the restrooms, you go straight out through the doors and you make a left and you go toward the green chandeliers, and then you make another left and the restrooms are on your right. Also, we have a cafe downstairs. If you want to, after the training, feel free to stop by. And lastly, if there is an emergency, the fire alarms will sound. We go back through the back doors in the back of this room and go down the stairs, and we will then follow everyone to the relocation at J. Neely Park. If you can, please silence or put your cell phones on vibrate, and we'll go ahead and get started with our presenter, Robin Williams.
Okay, before we begin the presentation, if you have questions and you're not in the room and you'd like to email your questions, you can do so at sierra.rm@calepa.ca.gov. Okay, good morning, State Agency Recycling Coordinators, CalRecycle staff, and guests. Today we are going to present the State Agency Reporting Center, SARC, web application and database so that we can submit our State Agency Waste Management Report for 2011, and it is due May 1st of this year. Our goals and objectives for today is to do an overview of the State Agency Reporting Center, and this is not a training for new recycling coordinators. We have many online resources that I will go over at the end, and also you have a designated contact who will assist you in the reporting process. We'll also complete a sample report today in SARC, and then of course we'll identify those important resources. Before I go do an overview of the web application and database, I would like to introduce the team that's involved. I won't be able to call everyone by name, but if you would stand up as I call your group. Information Technology Services, who's responsible for coordinating, designing, and developing the database and web application. Knowledge Integration Section, who's responsible for coordinating and working with staff and technology services to plan it. And the remaining three groups fall in the Local Assistance and Market Development Branch, also known as LAM. Our program advisors, Kara Morgan, who's my supervisor and who's not here with us today. My former cohort with the state agency team, Deborah Kustick, the state agency team, and the state agency leads. Everyone might wonder why a new system. Well, the new system will be streamlined, consistent annual report. In the past, we had an annual report in which the questions changed from time to time. Some of the questions were on one side, and we had to answer other questions at the end, and a lot of things weren't consistent. We had new passwords every year, and now we won't have to. We'll have a consistent web pass. It's easier system administration and review and data tracking for our CalRecycle staff. It's very difficult to extract information, keep track of all the reports that we're in on an annual basis, and actually review that data to see if everything was submitted correctly. And of course, a newer technology, which allows us to use our current web pass system. We can communicate with other databases like the State Agency Buy Recycle campaign, and you'll see later that you'll be able to pull your report up within the system And also, we don't have to rely on one programmer anymore. So what do we ask for in the old system? We're pretty much asking the same questions, it's just formatted a little differently. We ask for facility, director, recycling coordinator, contact information, and total number of employees. And in the old system, we also ask for your agency again and another employee count. And then in the third section, we ask for total tons, diversion programs, etc. Then you'd have to flip over several sections and get to the end where we had our questions that changed from year to year. And in the questions, we would ask you about data you inputted several pages before. So hopefully in the new system, all of this will change. We have new web pass access. CalRecycle only requires one web pass to access most of their applications. So if you report for the state agency by recycle campaign and have a web pass, you can use that same web pass to access the SARC system to submit your waste management report. All you need is permission to access this application. If you're a new recycling coordinator and you don't have a web pass, I advise that you contact your LAM contact, CalRecycle contact, introduce yourself, provide your information, and they will guide you through the web pass access process. Now we have an agency section. Before, you were really only entered the database to complete a report. Now you're able to get into your section more, it's more like an account now. So you have all of your information, your main agency contact information throughout the year, and then you have a list of your reports or report that you have to do. So at any point throughout the year, you can access the system and change your contact information. Maybe you're training a new recycling coordinator to come on. You can input that recycling coordinator. Your supervisor or director may have changed. You can change their contact information. And you can look at older reports throughout the year. Also, your annual report will be made available immediately after the year closes. Although we did have a change from the due date being made September 1st of each year to May 1st of each year through legislation, now the report should be made available around January of each year so that all of your information is fresh, easy to access, your memory is better. Also, your report follows a logical format. You have your summary, agency information, your disposal, your programs, and your reports. As you can see, we have the total number of employees listed, and right below that, we have a text box to comment on that particular section. In the past, we had to go all the way to the report summary or questions portion to note that information. The URL that you see, it requires that web pass to start and access the database. The URL that you see above is https://secure.calrecycle.ca.gov/SARC. You receive this information in many emails, and it should be on a handout or checklist that you have today. Please note this because now I need to go into our testing website, and it's not the actual database that you would enter. Also, if you've forgotten your web pass password and you have one, you can click on the CalRecycle web pass and it will take you over to the website that will help you gain access to a new password. You sign in. Oops. Let's see. Okay, here's the home page that you should see. If you're only submitting one annual report, only one annual report will show up. There are some people that submit several. This portion is open all year. Your My Agency section, which is on the left tab. This information with your contact information is also open all year. Today, we'll do a fictitious agency, Sunshine Rehabilitation Center. You see that all of your information here is here. The name of your agency, the address, current status is of course active. Report type is full. I'll be doing a full report since that is the most standard reporting type with the most information. Your CalRecycle representative is here. You can email that person. And then it also should list you, the recycling coordinator. Next tab is your agency information. Now this is the portion you can change throughout the year at any time. And also your contact information. In some cases, some agencies have more than one person actually reporting and inputting data for their particular agency. We're only able to input one recycling coordinator, one supervisor, and one director. However, if you would like someone else to also access and edit your report, you can list that person. You can add a contact and list them as other. However, they also would have to get their own individual web pass. Please do not give out your email address and password to anyone else. And then also you can talk to your LAM contact and tell them that they would have edit rights. In some cases, you have consultants who may only have view rights. Next, we'll go over to the annual report section. Also, you can add facilities. I'm sorry, I don't want to miss over that. And the list of facilities here, unlike the old system, is not your main facility that you listed in agency. That's a different. A facility is something that's at a different location, but falls underneath your agency. A satellite office or something to that effect. Your annual report section lists all of the agencies that you need to submit an annual report for. And today it's Sunshine Rehabilitation Center. You can look at your previous year's annual report by selecting on a year. Hopefully this will work because it's a fictitious agency. It takes a little while to come up. But you can look up all your reports for previous years. This will also be in PDF format. This is from the prior database. So we began our 2011 annual report. As you can see, each section is nicely organized. You can click on verify and update agency information. All of the links on the left will take you to the information that you need to access. Or you can click on each tab, agency, disposal, programs, and programs to complete the sections as well. The summary page is a summary of what you've completed. The red X signifies that you have not successfully completed that information and you need to go back and change something. Red flags will indicate what you have yet to complete. Let's go through and verify and update agency information. You do need to verify your agency information every year. Either you can edit it or click Agency Verified at the bottom. If your mailing address is the same as the physical address of the agency, you can just click on that box above and it will automatically be filled. You want to put in the number of employees at this agency. You also have help throughout the application, noticed by the question marks. So in this case, it's the number of employees at this agency, not including the employees at each facility. We will also have help guidelines available within the next week with a link that will be up above. We have an FAQ section on our website as well. So I will put in 1,300 for this facility. Yes.
Thanks. Okay, what you just said was for this page, you enter the number of employees at that main agency office, and then when you have other facilities, you enter that information, and then does the software add up all the employees for all the facilities?
Yes, you no longer have to put it in two places and double check it manually yourself.
All right, thanks.
And you no longer have to put your main agency in the facility section. These are the employees for your main agency location
All right.
only.
Okay, thanks.
Now you can see the green check mark. That section is complete, so I can move on to verify and update my contact information. Starting this year, we are requiring that we also, in addition to the director and recycling coordinator contact information, that we have your supervisor information as well. And this makes things a little easier. Sometimes the turnover for recycling coordinators can be high, and we no longer have the current recycling coordinator's information. And also, if you don't submit your report, we really don't want to call your director and say that your report hasn't been submitted, because there could be a reasonable explanation for that. Life happens, and it's easier to get in touch with the supervisor than with the director. Also, you have to verify your information for your director and also yourself. You click in your name. If you need to change something and to verify your contact, you can change your information within your boxes. The feature for pre-filling the contact mailing address is the same. If it is the same, just check that box. We have an automatic fill. If your contact address is the same as the agency's address, it will automatically fill that. You are the recycling coordinator. So you can only choose director, supervisor, or other. The reason why director is in here because we already have the director position filled. So you can only have one of each, excluding other. You can have multiple other. So I will click Contact Verify. Yes. And it's going to ding me. Because if I click Save, it should ding me. See, it says, please select physical county.
Okay, thank you.
Robin, in this example, you don't have a supervisor.
Right.
So how do you add the supervisor?
I'll get to that part.
Oh, okay.
It won't let me move forward without adding a supervisor. Oh, which county is this? So there, that section is complete without error. Or I should say that person. So now the recycling coordinator has been verified, and then I have to go in and verify the director. And in this case, for the first year, we're going to have to select a county because we didn't ask for that information before. I'm sorry.
I should have waited. I was wondering if you enter the city, the name of the city, if the county will populate. We have 250 facilities all over the state, and I'm not sure what county these cities in which they lie. So,
No, they will not auto-populate, but our programmer will look into that. And don't forget to click on Contact Verify and save. So now I need to add my supervisor because we don't have one of each. So if you notice, the only choices I have are supervisor and other. That's because we already have a recycling coordinator and we already have a director. So I'll have to complete this information. I hate putting my information into databases, even if they are artificial. Are there are there any other questions right now as we're typing?
Robin,
Yeah.
we have a question about somebody who has 2 roles. Do they enter themselves twice?
Yes, they do enter themselves twice. If they're the supervisor and the recycling coordinator, in some cases it could also be the director because there's only one person there. So they would have to enter themselves 2 or 3 times. And that would just be for this first process. In subsequent years, they can just verify that information. Okay. This is where I use my easy button. Okay. So now you can see the contact section is complete. Next, we can scroll down and add facilities if we need to. You can click the Add Facility button if you have additional facilities and fill in the information. And remember, you do not add your agency again after you already added the employees at that up above in the first section. I'll use my easy button for that so it automatically fills, has the same contact or recycling coordinator. And we only have 3 employees at this location. Sometimes sometimes you have circumstances where you might not have any employees or you only have one, although you may get visitors at that location. It's just that that facility isn't always manned, maybe like in the circumstance of Park. Okay, so let's scroll down to facilities and look at the one we just added. So, say you had like 250 facilities, like the person in the back just mentioned. In subsequent years, after you've already added the information, you may only need to go back into employee count. Therefore, you would just click in the box and change your employee count, and then click the update number of employees, and then that number would automatically show here. So now your facility information section is complete. So it might be painful the first year when you're adding those 250 facilities, but the subsequent years will be easier because then if you need to only change your employee count, it will be easy to do so. It'll be just like a Excel spreadsheet or a grid. You just put the employee number and click that box at the bottom. We have a question.
You showed how to add a location. How do you delete one if you're downsizing?
Let us go back. When you click on your facility, then you would have a delete button right there, and then you could delete that facility. Okay, our next section is our disposal section. Yes.
If you delete a facility, does that lose the historical record for that facility, or is that already logged into the database?
Nothing is ever really lost. It's just, so you would like to delete your facility, but some kind of way you'd like to bring it back. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, just to have it for historical records.
Nothing's ever really deleted. It will always be there in the historical record. Your previous year's information would always be there. That's another good thing about this database. At one point in the old database, if you changed the recycling coordinator's contact name and information, it would wipe out everything from the past. Now, the person who submits the report, their name is on the report. We have historical information on who submitted the report when. Nothing's deleted. Maybe disassociated. It may disappear, but you can always call and ask us about that.
Excuse me, what if you did want to bring it back, like you close a park and then you reopen it?
That's a good question. I think you may have to.
If you delete the facility for that current year, then it's like it's gone. But if you have it for that year and then the following year when you come back, you don't have to add it again. Does that make sense? Once you delete it, it's not there anymore. for that current year. Okay? They won't delete it for previous years or anything else, but that current year is gone. And any future years. Okay?
Okay, here we are in our disposal section. As you can see, the total, you no longer have to re-enter the total number of employees. It's automatically brought over. So you saw that I entered 1,300 for the main agency and I entered 3 for the facility. So now the total is 1,303. People have questions about where to get their number for their total number of full-time equivalents. We have little explanations there. Various agencies get it from different places, human resources, personnel. I usually like to say whoever's spending money on people usually know the total number of employees. So whatever the reason may be, is very important for this first year at least, because we don't have direct relation to the old database. It's very important that this report, this first year, be complete and thorough as possible. And that one, maybe in the future we could add additional features and then we have direct comparisons for information. It will be easier comparisons for you in the future. So let's edit this page. And we did have an updated feature this week. So you can go through, if you don't know the answer to everything at once, you can go in and fill in certain text boxes, save it, and come back later and then complete this section. But it will not be approved and complete on the disposal section until you complete every section. So your reasoning for your total full-time equivalent employees could have come from human resources. Your total number of non-employees. In this case, we have inmates. If you think your agency should have an additional population type, then please contact your LAM representative, and then we will be able to add on an additional factor. So let's say we have 10,000. And then that number probably comes from administration. These are the same questions that we asked in previous reports. Your total amount disposed in tons. Let's say we have 500 tons. Your total amount of transformation is new. Very few agencies report transformation. So if you've never heard of transformation, you don't send anything for transformation, don't try and put a number in there. Also, if you are reporting transformation, you can put the amount sent to transformation, but your maximum deductible amount will automatically be calculated within the application. So let's say I sent 50 tons. So see, it's automatically calculated. So you don't need to change anything. You can just leave what you sent for transformation in there, but it's just telling you that it's only going to be able to take away 10% of your total generation. Okay, so you can scroll down and see your annual results. Your per capita disposal rate is calculated for your employee population, and in this case it's the inmate population because that's your additional factor. If you didn't have an additional factor, you wouldn't see this portion. And your per capita disposal rate is pounds per person per day. So 500 tons times 2,000 divided by the number of employees divided by 365. So in this case, your annual is below your target of 10.3. And down below, it says help us to understand your disposal so that we may assist you in finding ways to increase diversion. So, what type of waste are still thrown away? Not reused, recycled, or composted. So you may not have anything. Or you can also say that you would like for your CalRecycle representative to come out and do an analysis and help you to try and determine if there is anything else they can assist you with. What difficulties or obstacles have you had with finding ways to reduce, reuse, recycle, or compost these types of waste and materials? Some of you may know, but a lot of times, if you don't know there's not a problem, then you wouldn't know what the obstacles are. Or you may not have someone who's just able to pick up certain materials. You save this information. So your disposal section is complete. There's a question.
Actually, it's a comment that tons disposed. Once in a while, an agency will forget that is asking about the tons of waste and not the recycled material, and that you get it from your hauler if you own the building, or you get it from your building manager who pays the hauling bill. So it's for trash, not recycling.
Right. Thank you, Carrie. And also, the number of the additional factor. Sometimes you may have students, say, where you need to put in your additional factor, because you may only have 1,000 employees and 25,000 students. So you might want to figure out on campus where you would get that number, and sometimes it's from admissions, or there's another department that may keep track of student enrollment records. Are there any other questions on this page as we move forward? Also, if you're over target, this would be flagged. And then there will be a disposal trend chart, and then there will be a pop-up box with a text, possibly to give an explanation why you might be over target. Sometimes some agencies have gone through major transformations with their facilities, and they may have a lot of construction or C&D going on, and that may be adding to the weight, which may allow them to be over target.
Just so everyone can see how that would show up, could you put in a high tonnage number and let them see that, please?
$50,000, isn't it? Oh, here it is. I thought it turned red, though. Oh, okay. I thought it turned red down below. So here's the text box. Please provide an explanation as why the annual per capita disposal rate is greater than the disposal target. And then that's a required field. Sorry, just looking for the extra red. Okay. So now I have to put something in this box.
Robin, have we defined transformation yet and explained exactly what counts as transformation and what doesn't? I think that might be helpful. Thank you.
We have our little explanation right to the side here. So, because very few agencies report transformation, and there have been few who have automatically deducted their transformation, this was provided for them. So transformation means incineration, pyrolysis, distillation, or biological conversion, and the maximum allowed is 10% of the 2006 generation. And there's the calculation. And it goes to one of 3 facilities in California. Okay, I need to try and save this.
Robin,
Yes.
just a comment on the number of employees, the number of non-employees, and the disposal, that we really need agencies to give a little bit more information. So for the number of employees, it would be human resources, and maybe so that somebody could replicate that if there's turnover, or somebody, we have so many times where agencies say, I don't know where my predecessor got that number. So it's really instructive if you put in there, we got it from human resources. They use payroll records for full-time equivalent employees. So that somebody could actually replicate getting that number. If you just put, say, human resources, that really won't give enough information for somebody coming down the line to know who they got the number from and how they actually constructed that number. And then the same with, non-employees. We use student full-time enrollment records or whatever. And then for disposal, it will be either we used an extrapolation method and explain what that extrapolation method is, or we used hauler records or that sort of thing. So somebody down the line can replicate those.
Right. And thank you, Deborah. I just did it for brevity. I should have had a copy and paste. Okay, so now we'll go over to our program section. And this section has been modified. Before we asked you what you had that was existing, but really it was like from the year before, and you were already 9 months into the current year, and you were reporting this data. So we're really only asking for 2011 information, and very few really understood that grid. So you have to click in each section, although you might not have programs in each section. And that was done because the list of programs, the list of ideas that are in there might, give you ideas on what to implement. So in the recycling section, you also have a link to the programs that were implemented in 2010. So you can see what you did do. And then once again, you have your help sections for ones that we thought weren't exactly self-explanatory. And we hope to expand upon those in the future. You click on Edit, and then you can select each of the ones that you have in place or had in place for 2011. And if you didn't have any in a particular section, then you just click on the None box. We aren't taking note of hazardous materials here, but you should still be concerned about those, and we have links and information.
Robin, I got a quick question. Is this January to December, or is this fiscal year?
Calendar year 2011. Yeah. So by actually moving the date to May 1st instead of September 1st, it should make it a lot easier for a lot of people. And then not this year, we had it open in March of this year, but hopefully next year we should have the annual report available by January. So it should make it easier for everyone. Now you do have your check boxes, everything that you checked off and had in place. Some things may not be self-explanatory. So you might want to describe certain circumstances or problems that you've had, or there's other things. We have another checkbox as well up here. And you may want to have your additional comments here. Maybe there's problems with recycling certain materials. And then also for your type of agency, you may want to know what other agencies of your type are doing for special materials that they have in particular. And you can provide that comment in there, and then your CalRecycle representative can review that and try and get additional information if they don't know that themselves. So until you complete each you have to go through and click on each section, or else it will not be verified. You'll still see the please review this program, although you may have nothing related to that particular program. You can click on None after you click Edit. So we have to go through each one. Oops. Also, this comes in and is very useful for a new recycling coordinator who may not understand what's going on and they're looking at other details of particular programs. It's a good chance to view what they have in place, or maybe they can come up with new ideas just by looking at this list in particular. And of course, people probably won't select none for each. I'm just doing this quickly. And then also, the comment boxes are very important because that will answer a lot of questions when your CalRecycle representative is going through your report and they're wondering what's happening, especially if you may be over target. An explanation of more explanation is better than none. So that section is complete. This is not a part of the completion process, but this is where you can find past year reports, and this is the Reports tab in the upper right-hand corner. So you can go back and look at 2009. And then that report will be in PDF format. As time goes on, we will have additional features. Just because there hasn't been a direct comparison of the data from the old database, as time goes on, we may be able to do historical charts and things of that, and if there's something else that another feature that you may see we need within our reports that will be beneficial, you can submit a suggestion. And actually, you can put additional comments here for the overall report. If we didn't cover, if there was something that happened within your agency that wasn't covered or reflective in this annual report. And we hope that the questions or format won't be changing over time, so this will be consistent. You won't have to learn a new system and probably won't be getting new questions. If for some reason you need to show your supervisor or someone else, or you need to submit this report to someone else, this is in a printer-friendly format. And sometimes that is the case. Before you submit your report, there's someone else that generally would like to see it. Or you may not be the one entering the data, and there could be someone else who's like a consultant, and you'd like to see the report before they submit it. So here we select Submit Your Annual Report. And you have your warning notice. Once the 2011 annual report is submitted to CalRecycle, it will be locked, and you will not be able to make any changes. So make sure that everything is correct.
Robin, I have a comment.
Yeah.
For those that are doing this report for the first time and you're looking at how you come up with your employee numbers, and you might think, oh gosh, the number we used before isn't quite right. I want to recalculate it, and I'm going to do it the different way than it's done in the past. It's important to think about the way your target is set is based on how things were counted in 2006. So you don't want to be reinventing the wheel without first checking with your CalRecycle representative, because then you might be setting your target to, your target won't fit with the data that you're now wanting to put in there. So if you have questions about how your employee number was calculated in the past, or your visitor number, that you want to correct it, before you do that, please contact us and let's talk about it and make sure that it's something that we can all live with, because otherwise it gets ugly.
Correct, Barbara. And it's better to be consistent. I think there's only been one circumstance where a new recycling coordinator came on and just thought all of the data over the past several years was just incorrect. But actually, you would then need to contact your CalRecycle representative, and then she will consult the state agency team, and then we'll come to the conclusion whether or not your data is incorrect or not. But it's better to be consistent instead of to come up with new methodology.
Robin, I'm over here.
Okay.
I have two questions. One is in the contact tab, or the agency tab, do you identify if an agency is modified or not? Is that
It's automatically determined in the application. Now, if there needs to be a change, then you need to contact the state agency team and discuss that with them.
and I'm not indicating that a change is necessary. I'm just wanting to know if something shows up that identifies that particular agency as modified.
Okay.
That's my first question. My second one is, because each agency has a personal web pass to get into to edit their own report, are these reports also accessible to other agencies by if they wanted to view them in terms of, I don't know, programs, employee numbers, targets, anything?
All of that information is available on our website.
Okay.
So no, they can't directly get into their particular report.
But they can view it. That's my question. Okay,
right,
perfect.
view the data on the web.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions regarding the database? Also, since we completed our report, I wanted to show you additional resources that we have, especially for the new recycling coordinators. We have a new website format. And thanks to Katie Harrison and Daisy Kong who organized this, we have an entirely new format. It's nice and clean and organized. We have many resources on there. One important thing that we have to the left over here and in several spots throughout the website are your CalRecycle contacts. You have people, so a designated person to contact you. Before the database was created, this was actually an Excel spreadsheet that took like 3 to 6 months to get up. And oftentimes, once we would get it up, someone would call us the next day and say someone has been reassigned, and so therefore it was outdated. Now, since this comes directly from the database, it's updated instantly once it's put into the database. So this should be very current, not unless someone forgot to tell us or someone forgot to input into the database their new contact. So you can search for your agency names, or you can show all of them. And you see you have your agency, your CalRecycle staff contact, their supervisor. Clicking on the email, on the link sends an email. You have telephone numbers, which was a drastic improvement over our last that we have. Also, what's important about the state agency website is the annual report link. It's right there. So if you forget what the direct login link, you put there. And it has all of the information for you. We have our FAQs, which we updated recently. We have our checklist, the checklist that you may have in hand that you received today by attending. I don't think that's posted as of yet, but it will be soon. It has information on how to file your report, what you need to do before you start. And here's the link back to the previous listing that I just showed you for your CalRecycle representative. And red letters right here, the due date of the annual report is May 1st. Also listed here is information about WebPass accounts and passwords. I would recommend, if you're a new recycling coordinator, to contact your CalRecycle representative because you need to touch base with them. They need to get your information put into the database, and then they can instruct you on how to receive a WebPass. If not, if you're having other issues, you're a veteran recycling coordinator and you have a question, you can email our state agency team email address, sarc@calrecycle.ca.gov. If you've forgotten your WebPass password, you had a WebPass, you used it for something else at CalRecycle, like the state agency Buy Recycle campaign report, you can just click on the WebPass page and then click on Forgot Password. And actually, they've updated this process, so you'll only receive an email where you can update your password yourself. Actually, before it was very tedious trying to get a new password. Okay. So here's the direct URL for the annual report information page, which I just showed you. I showed you how to identify your LAM staff contact. And most importantly, when you can't get in touch with anyone else, our SARC inbox, sarc@calrecycle.ca.gov. There's always someone who can answer your questions through there. And don't forget that your Waste Management Annual Report deadline is May 1st of this year. Are there any other questions? Okay, I guess that's it. Is that it, Katie?
We have someone who wants an explanation about what modified state agency means.
Well, modified state agencies have less than 200 employees and have less than 100 tons disposal. I always get the 200 and 100 mixed up. Which means they only report their employee number and not their information on the total disposal tonnage. Right. They don't go through the excessive report the disposal page. They only report the employee number.
We also have a question about an agency that went to a vendor who incinerated their used mattresses for energy. Is that considered diversion? They were incinerated.
No.
So it would be considered transformation if those mattresses only went to the 3 state allowed
transformation
facilities.
Right. Okay, I guess that concludes our presentation for today. And if you have any questions, you have people, all of our CalRecycle staff are here and willing to help you. Thank you.